How you doing, folks? Welcome back. This is Scott with Dorsten Custom Firearms, coming to you from Sheridan, Wyoming. It's been about a week now that we've gotten back from Tom Russell's 5.5-day rifle class, the Jeff Cooper class. We had a great time. We celebrated Jeff Cooper's 101st birthday, toasted the Colonel with some fine whiskey, and had some great cake. And the class was just a lot of fun. It was a really great class. My wife attended it. She had a fantastic time, and everybody just came out of the class just, super geared up to go. What I thought I would do is I thought I'd give kind of a report on how some of the rifles did. Mostly my rifles, the ones that I offer, that I have a selection of them that I loan out for the class. And then maybe some comments on a few of the others that were in the class. Starting out, let's, okay, Scout 2. This is the Howa 1500. That has the upgraded to DBMs, the Timney trigger, and banded front sight. Okay. For the most part, performed fantastic. We did have something come up that was kind of odd. All of a sudden, and I do mean that it happened kind of all of a sudden, magazines, particularly the metal ones, this is an Accuracy International magazine, won't lock in. It's kind of odd. Because I tested them before I went and it was fine, and about a quarter of the way through the class, all of a sudden the person using the rifle couldn't get it to lock in. The Magpul ones still lock in just fine. No problem there. But for some reason, the metal one stopped. This is a simple solution, really. It'll require some more testing. Basically, I'm going to put a few of these, if I can get it situated in my hand, these little shims between the bottom metal and the stock to bring the bottom metal out just a little bit, and it should lock in just fine. The other issue we had, the 10 round mags, particularly, and that's the other odd thing, is that the 10 round mags, again, Accuracy International ones, they do lock in. I mean, the 5 rounds are not. The 10 round is, it is tight locking it in, but it will lock in. But it ended up having some feeding issues, so I'm thinking it's just too close up to the bolt, and that's what's causing the problems. It did drop a couple mags under recoil a few times. Not significantly to inhibit the person using it in the class, but it's still something that needs to be addressed. And this is actually an ongoing problem that Pacific Tool & Gauge is having with these, and probably with all their bottom metals, that they're dropping magazines, and it's almost always dropping the polymer Magpul ones. Most people are leaning towards this a mag issue, and there has been some things looked at to where the magazines, the little lip on the back, is a slightly different size here and there, and it's just enough to cause a problem with the Pacific Tool & Gauge bottom metal. Regardless, I don't accept that should be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change out the mag catch spring. So they come with a very small, I should have pulled one out, a very small thin one, and I'm going to remove that one, and I'm going to put this sucker in there. That's a nice thick strong spring, so I'm going to recut the hole for it and put that in there, and hopefully that'll eliminate that problem completely, because that should have plenty of tension on it to keep them in place no matter what the recoil is. So that's one of the benefits of taking one of these classes and stuff like that. You really get to shake down your gear and find where all the glitches are, and benefit of me loaning these guns out to people is they'll find these glitches, and now I know what I need to fix before I send the guns to you guys when you order one. That's one of the benefits of, you know, having somebody like me do it, is because I'm really searching for every problem, every glitch, so that when I send you the gun, it's absolutely as perfect as it can be. But other than that, the person, the student that used this gun just absolutely loved it. He's not sure he's going to order. He's going to order a rifle. He's just not sure which one yet, because, well, we'll get to the other one in a minute, and everybody's just loving that gun. But he did enjoy shooting this gun. He liked it a lot. He would not hesitate to recommend the rifle to anybody. And it's a great solid action. You know, it's just a great solid gun. Like I said, a few issues, and when I fix the mag drop issue, I'll do a video on that, and then I'll also contact Pacific Tool Engage and show them what I did and see what they want to do. Hopefully that they'll change that out. We'll see. They've been really good about that stuff, though. I mean, they really have been outstanding. Okay. Next, Jaeger Scout. Jaeger Scout performed flawlessly. That's the Tikka T3X compact in the right hand, stainless steel in the left hand. We didn't have a left-hand one out there this time, but we'll have one out there next time. Probably have a couple out there next time. So this one, everybody is flipping over this gun. It's great. Man, for the price, you just can't beat it. One of the things I wanted to say is, from the factory, there is a position here. I don't know if it was intended to be a sling stud location or if it was intended to be something else, but there was a screw in here that was just basically just plugging a hole, and when I pulled it out, it's the exact same thread and diameter of a sling stud. So I put the sling stud in there. Now, I did have a concern that the distance was a little too close, because usually you want it back here, you know, not this far up. However, one of the instructors was using Jaeger, and he said it didn't bother him one bit. He didn't have a single issue with it being that close together. He was still able to sling up. It didn't get in his way. Didn't have a problem with it. So, wow, you know, pretty much the Tikkas are set up for a Ching sling, 3-position sling. Man, I seriously, look, if somebody is working at Tikka and they see this video, have one of them call me, or Beretta, you know, somebody from Beretta USA, because they're the ones that import the Tikka. Have somebody call me. We need to talk, because you have like a really awesome rifle that is perfect to be a scout. Seriously, we need to do this. Okay, contact me, or you know, or I'll just take all the money, because I'm selling them as scout rifles. It's great. But the magazines had no issues. Feeding and extraction was fantastic. No issues at all. Yeah, I mean, it just didn't have any kind of a problem whatsoever. Other than somebody like must have scratched it. What the heck, man? It's not even your gun. You scratched it? In any case, not a big deal. I'm a gunsmith. I can fix that stuff. But it really just fantastic performance. So, and man, they're selling. I've already got orders for 4 Jaeger Scouts. That's fantastic. I can't get my hands on one right now. They're all back ordered, but as soon as they come in, man, around the world right now, supply chain issues everywhere. But yeah, the Tikkas should be getting, Beretta should be getting a Tikka shipment within a couple of months. So we should see more of the Jaeger Scouts showing up. If you want a Jaeger Scout, you know, contact me. Email is in the link below. Send me an email. email. I'll get a deposit from you, and I'll reserve one, and so that way you won't have to wait even longer if you delay. So, yeah, do that. All right. The most disappointing gun, the one that I'm actually really surprised about. So this gun, one of the students in the class has his gun up here to be turned into a scout rifle. The problem we had was, some of the parts he wanted were on back order. Not to mention, getting his gun is a 30-06, and getting a significant supply of 30-06 ammo right now, very difficult. Very difficult. We just couldn't find a good supply of it. We'd been talking to one in the class the benefits of using like a 223 Poodle Scout, basically Pseudo Scout, as a training gun, because ammo is cheaper and a little bit easier to come by. You can get 223 ammo or 5.56, whichever you want to use. It's a bolt action, so it ain't gonna matter. So we had talked about it in one of the class. So this student asked if I had one that I could loan him for the class. I did not at the time, so I went and bought one. I went and ordered one, so he'd have a gun to take the class with. When I had initially gotten the gun, I really liked it. I didn't set it up as a scout rifle. I'd pretty much just put a scope on it, just a low power, a low magnification, variable power scope. Just to get him through the class. But I had been giving thought to turning it into some kind of a practical rifle for that purpose, and now I'm not so sure. So the gun I'm talking about is the Howa Mini Action in 223. I put a Vortex Diamondback, which is one of their budget scopes. This one is a 1.75 to 5. Yeah, to 5. By 32. Now the scope, I will say, I actually really like the scope. It's got good clear glass, and it's got a nice thin reticle. For this type of shooting, it really did quite nicely. The Howa, however, not so much. So I had gotten 5 magazines for the gun, and all 5 magazines failed during the class. That's bad. And all the magazines were brand new. And so what was happening, and I found a sort of fix. I'm not happy with the fix. But what was happening is the springs in the magazines actually collapsed. And so the rounds weren't being pushed up to be fed. And it was jamming left and right. Now, to this guy's credit, he fought through it. I mean, he didn't complain once. He's like, hey, this is just training. This is just more training on how to clear jams. And it's like, holy cow, this guy was quick doing it too. Now, I had a sort of fix. What I did is first off, their magazine springs are so thin and chintzy. I'm just blown away. It's like, it's a 2-3. You could have just used an AR spring. The size wouldn't have been that much different, or at least the same diameter wire as an AR spring. I mean, don't reinvent the wheel. Just make a wheel, okay? So in any case, what I had to do is I actually had to bend. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go. You can see how it's kind of an odd, zigzag. That's because I actually literally had to bend these things out in order to tighten it up so it would feed. That did sort of work. It never should have had to have been done in the first place. I mean, I've never had to take apart a magazine and bend the springs to get it to work right. At least not on a a magazine. I have had to. Well, I haven't had to, but I have bent follower springs on bolt action rifles to get them to feed right. I don't like doing that. To me, if that needs to be done, you either need to replace the spring or something's designed wrong. Okay, so yeah, I had to do it on this, and I don't know. I did call Howa. I called my rep. I'm a Legacy Sports dealer, direct dealer. So I called my rep and told him what happened, and he immediately said, "I'm sending you 5 more mags." It's like, okay. They said that they just got a new batch in, and maybe the ones that I got were just a bad batch. They just got some more in, so he's sending me 5 more mags. So at least that response level was good. But that was my dealer rep, and dealer reps are going to be more eager to take care of their dealers, and such. We'll see how those mags look when I get them back. If the springs are still like this, I don't know that I'm going to be keeping this gun. I might just send it back and get the short action. So this is the mini action. I might just get a short action in 223 and do the same thing. Yeah. So the other thing is he transferred me over to their customer service line so that I could ask some of their customer service, or at least one of their customer service reps, about the issue. And I gotta say, I was not totally happy with the responses. Now, granted, whenever you call a manufacturer, they're not going to be like, "Oh yeah, we've had problems, all kinds of problems with that thing." They're never going to do that because they don't want customers to hear that sort of thing. It's like they're going to be like, if they talk like that, you're going to be like, "Well, why did I buy the gun in the first place?" And if it doesn't work, or why'd you sell it in the first place if it doesn't work? So they're never going to be like that. But she did say that they have seen it a few times, and usually this is the fix. Which, first off, when the manufacturer, or in this case the importer, is saying that, "Oh, the fix is that people just bend it," it's like, that should be a clue. That should be telling you that you need to make a change to your production line as what these are doing. So it's like, oh, come on, really? That's how you're telling people to fix this? Yeah, that's not good. That's really not good. So I bent these ones out. I'm going to test them. We're going to see. I'm going to wait for the new ones to come in to see if the springs are any different, if they're thicker, stiffer, or anything like that. It's just really disappointing that they collapsed that way. Now, granted, in this class, we are using, depending on the shooter, anywhere between 500 and 700 rounds in a week, and that's a lot of rounds. You're really hammering your guns at these classes, and rightfully so. You should. This is a great way to shake down your rifle to see, hey, is this going to function when I really need it to? And sadly, this gun did not. So yeah. I don't know that I'd recommend the Howa Mini Action right now. If you're looking for a 223 rifle like this, I would probably say look at the Ruger American. I would say look at the CZ. Seems to have an excellent gun. I actually have one in here in the shop that's going to be getting a scope mount on it and conversion done. Not too much of a conversion, but more of just a scouterizing. There's a good word, scouterizing. So they have a good one. Tika also offers their gun in a 223. It's interesting because they only have one size action. They just use different size magazines to feed different guns. So I don't know if that one has a different magazine stop in it to where it would make a shorter throw or not. It should. I know the 308, interestingly enough, does not have that short of a throw. It still has the full length throw, because at the back of the magazine you can see there's this big spacer basically right here, and what that is that's for a 308, because the same magazine will be without the spacer will be for a 30-06, and the same action would be for a 30-06 just with a different chambering. So if they do the same thing with the 223, it's like, man, that's going to be a long throw for such a short round. But you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, I would basically recommend one of those others right now. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Howa. And, you know, I'm especially kind of disappointed because these Howa mags, they're the same price as these Magpul ones. And not having that issue with Magpul, they got a nice stiff spring in them. And the Howas don't. It's like, what are, I mean, and the plastic is not that great either. I don't know who's making them, but they're not that good. Yeah, I don't see where the value is, you know, in what you're getting. Especially if it doesn't want to work. So, okay, the other gun that I had that it was in the class was the Master Series. Now, the Master Series does need some fine-tuning, and I knew that going into the class because I didn't have a whole lot of time to give it a full shakedown as to its operation. So, I'm not going to do a full review on that one right now because I want to do a little bit more looking at what's going to happen. I got to contact a couple of companies and get their input on things. So I'll do a separate video later on of the Master Series. But it is looking good. It does look good. Just a couple of small little glitches. You're going to have that with a custom build. I mean, if you think about it, I'm taking... So between the action, the barrel, the stock... See, action, barrel, stock, bottom metal, and magazine. You're talking about 5 different manufacturers. Okay? And trying to bring all that together into one gun and have it function perfectly right out of the gate almost never happens. Okay, that's part of my job. I'm here to find those problems and get everything fitted together. So, so yeah, that's what's going to happen there. All right, that's about the end of the video about the guns. The Howa 1500 short action. Scout 2s, Scout 1 and Scout 2s, functioning fantastic. A couple little glitches with the Pacific Tool Engage bottom metal, working that out. Jaeger Scout, flawless, absolutely flawless performance, no issue at all. Howa mini action, not there yet. Not a believer in them yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Okay. There were a couple of Steyr Scout rifles in there. For the most part, functioned very well. One of them did have an issue where the chamber started getting a little sticky about halfway through the class and did just kind of not so much of a polish as more of a power cleaning. I use a red Scotch Brite on a rod, plastic rod, you know, not scratching anything, and just kind of like give it a pseudo polish. You can call it a polish. I don't call it too much of a polish because it doesn't do that much. I call it more of a power cleaning. But it did help a bit. It started to come back towards the end of the class though, so that one needs to have a regular polish on it. And actually, that guy is, I think he's going to have his local gunsmith do that, and that's, you know, totally fine. Because it's not that big of an issue. I mean, you know, polishing a chamber, you know, any good gunsmith should be able to do that. However, that same Scout rifle, interestingly enough, on the rifle walk, he went into the prone position, extended the bipod, and the ground wasn't, which, of course, it wasn't level. I mean, you're out in the field. You're almost never going to find perfectly level ground. He wasn't pushing on it or anything like that. He simply had it at just a slight awkward angle. And he took a shot, and under recoil, the bipod snapped off. Now, I've heard of the bipods cracking, the pin cracking on them and stuff. Like, if people use it to try and like stand up, like they'll push down on it and it'll snap. I've heard of that before. This is the first time I've seen it happen just under recoil. That's very interesting. But that's, you know, that's the design of the bipod, I guess. It's just not a strong part. One of the other students doesn't even keep the bipod on his gun. Steve Clifford, he removes it completely and like fills all the holes and sands it down, and you know, he's got a super light model that actually makes weight and no bipod, and he doesn't even care. So but for the most part, and you know, that's kind of been the consensus with those, is that most people don't really even use the bipod, just because it's not as handy and it's not really as strong as it should be. So that's the Steyrs. Now there were the other Steyr, that both of those issues were with one Steyr. The other Steyr had no problems at all. He didn't. Yeah. The only thing that he almost did was not seat the magazine all the way when he went into one of the shoot-offs, and he caught it in time. But oh man, that would have been bad. But that's an operator error. That's not a gun error, so we're not going to worry about that. So yeah, that's good. The other gun that was there, that is a Van Dorsten Custom, was a custom, the Remington Model 7 action, the Holy Grail gun, the customer called it. It performed fantastic. I didn't see any issues with that. The owner did not have any complaint about it at all, other than not having enough magazines. I had to loan him a couple of magazines. In fact, I think he kept the magazines. Yeah, I think he did. Huh. All right, that's all right. He fixed me up with a scope anyway, so not a big deal. Yeah, that one performed fantastic, and it's super light, and he loved it, and it's doing great. The accuracy is right on, so no issues there at all. Yeah, so let's see. I think that was all. The only other gun that was in the class, yeah, so out of the 9 people in the class, there were 6 Van Dorsten Custom Firearms. That's awesome, right? Well, one's not really a custom, one's just so 5 customs and the mini, the Howa Mini. And then there was 2 Steyrs and an AR-15. So, yeah. Everything seemed to do pretty well. Oh, there was a SIG Cross in the class. It did pretty well. It's a nice action. It had a really light trigger on it. It was like 1.5 pounds. Which that sounds good, but I don't know. To me, I like to be able to rest the finger on there just a little bit while I, fine tune into the sight. This one didn't really let you do that too much. It did have one issue where the stock kept collapsing every time the shooter was in prone. The stock would collapse under recoil. Now SIG has been very responsive in that. They're getting the gun sent back into them so they can address that issue. So I'll do a write-up at some point as to how that goes. It's a very interesting gun. Surprisingly light for the way it looks. It really is. I don't know if I would put it in the practical rifle category or not. To me, it's maybe. I guess just about anything can be a practical rifle. It's light enough. I just don't know how physically handy it is. Having the chassis system and all that. I mean, this is handy to carry. It's easy to carry. There's not a lot of bulk to it. So the SIG Cross is more of a chassis system type of setup, and which adds bulk and makes it a little bit more awkward to carry and such. I guess that's a personal preference sort of thing. So, but other than that, the gun performed pretty well. It was very accurate. Very accurate. The guy was making some really great shots. Trigger was very nice. The action was very smooth. Didn't have any kind of feeding issues or anything like that. I will say that the factory 5-round Magpul mag has a different follower. Very interesting, because it has like a ramp at the tip. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm going to be contacting Magpul and being like, hey, what's up with that? Can I get some of those? Can I try that on other guns? Yeah, I want to know. I want to know why the SIG Cross has a different one. Now, he had 10-round ones that had just the standard bottom follower, and they were feeding fine. So I don't know why those ones had the different one on the with the ramped nose. And it only came with one magazine. Man, that's an expensive gun to only come with one magazine. It really is. One 5-round magazine for a gun that price. That's crazy. You buy a gun that you buy a $4,000 gun for me, a $3,000 to $4,000 gun. I'm gonna give you 2 magazines. Oops. Yeah. No problem. So, in any case, but the gun performed pretty well. Unfortunately, when he was in the prone and he fired, it collapsed, and he actually got bit in the nose by the scope. So that's something to watch out for. If you're out there, you're shooting a Sig Cross, watch out for that. Watch out for the recoil adjustment collapsing in under recoil. So, and it didn't matter how tight we put it. I mean, we tightened it down as much as we could. So, all right, I kind of feel like I'm rambling. This video's been long enough. It's already a 30-minute video. So, yeah. If you are interested in one of my rifles, or one of my revolver works, one of my pistols, my next build is going to be a 1911. I've got some more scout rifles that I'm converting and building. I got a Kimber in the gun safe right now that is going to be scouterized. I'm going to put one of my ribs on it, and the great thing is the rib for the number 2 contour shillings is almost a perfect match to the Kimber. I mean, almost perfect. To the point where I'm not going to have to machine it. I'm merely going to have to sand it a little. That's it. Oh, man. Boy, what an easy job that's going to be. So, that one's coming up. Yeah, I got a CZ, the 527 in 7.62 by 3.9. That one's going to get scouterized. So that's going to be a fun one. I'll have full details on that. We're going to be doing a 1911 build, and lots and lots of revolvers. Lots of revolvers. So, yeah, if you've got something that you want to turn into a scout, if you've got a Smith & Wesson revolver or a Ruger revolver that you would like to have the action gone through and cleaned up and customized, contact me. Email's down there somewhere, check out my Facebook page for like lots of pictures and stuff like that, full details of all the builds and all. Oh yeah, and we're going to be doing a precision rifle build on a budget action. Not a budget build, a budget action turned into a precision rifle. So yeah, look forward to that. All right, this has been Scott, your friendly neighborhood gunsmith with Dorsten Custom Firearms here in Sheridan, Wyoming. We'll see you next time.